Hi, welcome to my podcast on the different research methodologies used in qualitative research. The first one we're going to look at is the methodology of life history. The term life history refers to a variety of different methods and techniques used for conducting qualitative interviews, especially in the fields of education. The study of life experience basically looks at the life experience of the individual and how they perceive or interpret the world around them based on those life experiences. Some of the techniques in this are using biographies, life stories, oral histories, case studies, testimonies, as well as autobiographies. And generally the type of method chosen will fit the purpose. And the methods are non-unified, which means that not every researcher using a life history is going to use just one of these. They may use several of these together. The researcher has the subject basically tell the story of his or her own life in his or her own words, and they do this through a variety of different methods, such as direct observations, using diaries, correspondence, using writings, as well as narratives such as interviews. This is often used in the study of teacher development. In education, it is important to be able to have a perspective and be able to interpret how people are going to react within a variety of different situations. That becomes quite significant. So it gives us very valuable insight in the ways in which personnel, educational personnel in this case, are going to come to terms with the constraints and the conditions in which they work. How are they going to react? Traditions. These are qualitative traditions that they present diverse approaches to the different research, and that each tradition forms a coherent whole, compromising internally consistent assumptions about human nature, society, and methodology. In other words, not for each one of these different types of traditions, for each one of these types of research, they can be used either by themselves, which will look at giving a consistent assumption about human nature and society, or they can blend. And as a blended approach, we could take, for example, life history and combine that with action research. So look at life history, look at a narrative point of view, look for themes and patterns within that, and apply that to the action research methodology. Interactionism and action research. These are theoretical perspectives that derive social processes from human interaction. They are the study of how individuals and how culture and society influence human thought and behavior. Interactionism. It is a research tradition which involves the study of how individuals engage in social transactions and how these transactions contribute to the creation and maintenance of social structures and individual self-identity. So again, how does the culture grow and identify itself depends upon how they engage and how they correspond to each other. Action research is an inquiry or research methodology which is focused on providing higher quality within whatever field, within whatever purpose for the organization. It is done simply by action, hence the name action research. It is done again for the goal of improving strategies, practices, and knowledge within the environments. Action research as a comparative research on the conditions and effects of various forms of social action and research leading to social action that uses a spiral of steps, each of which is composed of a circle of planning, action, and fact-finding. So in this, you find a question, make an observation in nature, create a plan based on that, do an action, observe that, reflect on it, improve that plan, and continue this cycle over and over and over again. Again, diagnosing, identifying the problem, creating an action plan, doing the plan, evaluate it, and improving it. Ethnography is a qualitative research methodology that is used to describe a variety of aspects and norms within a culture or culture group, and is used to enhance the understanding of the people being studied. The study of ethnography is often employed for gathering empirical data, therefore it can be both qualitative and quantitative in its nature. It uses data collection is often done through participant observations, interviews, questionnaires, and so forth. It is similar to other qualitative research methods. Researchers actually become integrated and part of the cultural scene, and we call this field research. The data is collected and analyzed, and as one type of data provides new information, this information may stimulate the researcher to look at another type of data or to elicit other confirmations of an interpretation from another person who is part of the culture being studied. In other words, if you're going to look and analyze certain data, then you should also look at certain aspects of the culture and data related to that culture and analyze it as a complete whole. Methods. Formulate a research problem, okay, and you'll choose a setting that fits a problem. So for example, if you want to look how technology affects student outcomes, well then you would choose a setting that best fits that, such as maybe an educational technology classroom. Gain entry into that culture, become an accepted member, collect the data, qualitative and quantitative, analyze, interpret it, and report the data. And the steps to reporting the data are statement of the study question, so you have a purpose and a statement, and how you got there. Describe the background research you used. Detail the review and the study of the design. Present the data and explain the findings. And thank you for allowing me to do this podcast for you guys today.